What are your 5 worst screenwriting habits?
5 worst. Well, it's writing while I'm rewriting, which is running like on a treadmill. You know, you can rewrite after you're done, but don't rewrite. You know, one time I had a job and the contract stated they wanted to see every 10 pages. And I was like, that's a deal breaker for me. And so I told my attorney, I said, I don't want that. I said, you're hiring me to write the script. Let me write the script. That's what a rewrite's about. You won't know in 10 pages. You know what I mean? It's like running on treadmills. You know, that's for me a habit that I don't do. It's tempting because when you get bored, you scroll back and you're like, oh, I wonder what those, you know, and then you realize the day's gone. And you're like, I should be on page 15 and I'm on 3 because I really, you know, worked on those 3. That's what a rewrite time's for. Another bad habit, let me see. Well, fear. I don't know if that's a habit, but that's you know, there's a lot of fear involved in writing, you know, sitting with the blank page that you have to fill. And like I've said before, you can alleviate that by having a solid treatment, which is sort of your buddy, you know, and your roadmap, and you won't sit there and just waste time. Procrastination is another terrible one, and I'm guilty of it as well. A bad habit. There's always something to distract you. And then, like I say, when the writing gets difficult, which it does, it's the easiest time to run away from it. And I found that even when you sit with it, like I think Raymond Chandler said, he sat at his desk every day at the same time. If anything happened or it didn't, you know, it's that constant repetition, which writing is. It's not, oh, I'm, you know, waiting for my muse, you know. So I still have to, I mean, the last job I was procrastinating, but I had 3 pages a day, which was a light schedule, but I found myself on the internet and looking up stuff, and, you know, procrastination is horrible. What are we at now? 3?
You're 3. Yeah.
I'm 3. Number 4, can I come up with 2 other ones? Bad habits? Let me think. You mean personal habits?
Screenwriting, yeah.
Screenwriting habits. Overwriting. Something I don't do, but I warn against it, because when I consult on scripts, I read that there's just, you know, describing the wallpaper, and, you know, you have to know what you need to put in and what you need to leave out. And I find a lot of beginning writers, you know, hang on so desperately that they're not going to understand it, or that, well, can't my, you don't describe the chandelier unless the diamonds are part of the heist. You know, I mean, you start to read people's clothing and all these, and it adds up. And so that's when you end up with a 120-page script, and why, and you look through and go, cut this out. It's, you know, they don't want to see all this description and all this stuff. And that's a technique, is to know when to stay out of the way, which is important, I think, for a writer. Is like, you got to know when to put your imprint on it, but stay out of the way, you know. And so what are we up to, 4 now?
Or 4, but if
and 5. What's the other one? I don't know. I can't come up with the 5th.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. So when you catch yourself procrastinating, do you sometimes just say, all right, I'm just going to do it for a little bit, get it out of my system? Or what do you do to be your own?
Well, again, when you're working alone, I used to, years ago, have a writing partner. You know, so that helps to have somebody go, hey, or you're together, because it's both of your collective time. You're not wasting somebody else's time. When you're alone, you can waste as much time as you want, right? It's just my time. But I usually realize that I'm doing it, and then snap back into like, oh, I should be. It's tough, you know, distractions. That's why you have to go somewhere and write. If you have an office, or they have office spaces now that you can rent.
Yeah. And
it's a short-term thing per day. And one time a producer hired me an assignment, and he paid for that office space so I could go there. And it was something about, like, when I go to the gym, you made a commitment to take that trip to get there and park, and so you're going to be productive, rather than working at home when there's a lot of distractions. If you have a family, somebody knocking on the door, phone ringing. Other times I've worked at a library, you know, and when it's quiet and things like that. So your work environment's also very important to fight off the forces of procrastination.
Yeah, the whole co-working culture is very interesting.
Yeah.
What about overwriting? I was wondering if you could maybe just give me an example of something that's overwritten versus shortening it down.
Well, mainly it's in descriptions in the script, but also overwriting the dialogue, where you could go through and in a piece you could say, you don't need that beginning sentence. You're saying the same thing in repetition 2 lines from now, and really getting concise down to the point of having, or overwriting where characters say something and you say it would be better if they just had a reaction. I always try to err on the side of let the actors act and emote rather than say something. If you see someone's eyes 60 feet on the screen, that's going to say a lot more than a line of dialogue. So you cut. They say cut the dialogue and then cut it 20% more than that. And you're like, oh, lean. And no one wants to but I've read screenplays that read like a stage play. And you're like, that's not what this is. Or scenes, every director I've worked with said, give me something to shoot where the scene is just flat and 2 people sitting. Now, Quentin Tarantino can do it with interesting dialogue, with 10 pages of dialogue, but 2 characters sitting in a dinner scene, the directors I worked with, they hate it. They're like, what are we doing? It's just this, and plus the food, it will be spoiled. It takes a long time to film it, in overwriting the descriptions, like I said before, about describing things that are not your job, you just set the scene. And if it's a castle, you don't have to say all the intricacies of the interior of the castle. And in the corner, there's a knight in shining armor, and there's a thing in the tapestry. The set designer will do that. You have to stand back, and in a way, you have to really know what you need to put in that's necessary and what is unnecessary. And I think a lot of beginning writers don't know that fine line, and they just put everything in it.
And so if someone were to read it and it drags, would they know? Let's suppose it's their work and they think, oh no, but I'm describing this interaction between 2 people and the tension and it's great. But then an outside person is looking at it saying, this is dragging.
Yeah, cut to the chase. What's going on? Less is always more. Is you know what I mean? And I've always found that, and you find, a producer I worked with, he caught the repetition in dialogue and I didn't even see it. And he said, you're saying the same thing here again. We don't need it. I'm like, oh my God, you're right. And he's a big anti-repetition, producer. And I've never had that before. A producer would point out those specifics. I go, you're right. I've got this bad habit now of not even seeing it. And so now I'm very cognizant of that when I work with him, and in general that, we only have so much time on the screen and so many pages. And if you don't like the constraints, then write a novel. You can do whatever you want. But if you like the screenplay format, you have to have these dense, packed scenes with subtext, but not go on for 6-8 pages. There's a rhythm to it. You have a feel, like you say, when you start reading that a script's overwritten, you just know everything's described, and the writer's so afraid to let go that their vision or their ideas won't come through on the page. Well, once they take that script and make it, but you want to, your imprint is the script. So, all these other little particulars are not going to help when it's overwritten.